So I already showed you how to make a full-size window in your side panel like this one, and the link to that video will be in the description if you're interested in doing that. But there are other ways to make a full-size window on the side of your case, and I'm going to show you the alternative way that doesn't require cutting into any metal or anything like that. If you're scared of potentially destroying your side panel and having to buy a new one, or you just don't have a jigsaw or a Dremel tool or anything like that and you don't want to buy those things, then this will be what you want to do. You do still need tools to do this though. You need a drill to make holes in your case, you need a tap to make threads in those holes, and then you need bolts to thread into the holes that you made. And we're going to use a plexiglass sheet to bolt onto the side of the case as your window. There are multiple different size taps and drill bits and bolts that you can use. You just have to make sure they're all compatible with each other. When you buy a tap, it should tell you what drill bit is compatible with that tap, and then you just have to buy the bolts of the same size. Now, I would not suggest drilling into your case with all your components in it. I wouldn't do that to somebody else's case, but this is my case, so whatever. The advantage of cutting a window into your side panel is that you can still use the mechanism to attach the side panel onto the case to attach your window on. But you need more tools to do that, and you have to destroy your side panel potentially, so this way is a little bit less risky. I mean, you do have to drill holes into this section of your case, but when you put the side panel back on, if you don't like what you did, you won't be able to see those holes, so it's not a big deal. So this is the tap that you use to make threads in the holes that you're going to drill, and the packaging that comes with the tap tells you right there what kind of bolts you need to get in order to fit that thread. And on the back it tells you what kind of drill bit you need to get to make holes for this thing. So we have 3mm thick plexiglass here, which we're going to use as our window, and we just have to measure out how big we need to cut it. So you need to measure exactly where your side panel used to be, and we're going to be drilling into this lip right here to attach the plexiglass. So really you can just measure your side panel and top to bottom, side to side, and that is exactly the size your plexiglass needs to be cut to.
The book that I wrote, are all the words that we spoke, yet only with our eyes. Now is the time to choose. Somebody wins and some lose. I can see through your disguise. Lay it down, hope for something better. Looking at the clouds, the cipher in the weather. You can't keep this up. The lies are just too much. Kick back, start another fire. Looking at the clouds, making shapes that you admire. And you can't stop it now, 'cause you don't know how.
Once your plate is cut and you're ready to drill your holes, you're going to want to measure a spot where on both sides it's able to come out the same distance away from the edge of the acrylic, and that way it'll just look even and it'll look better. So I want to make one right here, and that is like 2.5 inches off of the side. And over here, I won't be able to do that because it'll land right in the middle of this thing, so But if we go 1 3/4, it'll land right on top of this rivet, so that's not going to work either. What about 2? 2 will be right next to the rivet, and right here, just barely not in that hole. Alright, so we're going to go 2 inches off of both sides, and on the bottom I want to make it kind of like right here. 2 inches is just barely going to work on the bottom as well. And you don't need to worry about being too near these rivets. As long as you're not hitting the rivets, you're not going to mess with them at all. And don't worry about being too near these holes, because as long as your hole that you drill doesn't actually touch any of these holes, it's not going to matter, because these are just for the locking mechanism on the side panel, and you're not going to be putting on the side panel when the window is on there, because the window takes up the entire space that the side panel would be. So don't worry about it. So now that you have your holes, you're going to need to put threads in them, so I'm just going to drill in with the tap. You only need to go about halfway in, and then you can just unscrew it. And now the screws that you got should be able to screw in there without pulling out. So just do this to all 4 holes. Now you're going to want to make the holes in your plexiglass slightly larger than the diameter of the threads on your bolts, just because it has the potential to expand and contract, and if it's too tight up against that bolt, it might crack. And you're not going to need to put any threads on your plexiglass either, because the threads on the case that you made are more than strong enough to hold on the plexiglass, so it's not going to matter. As long as the holes that you make in your plexiglass are smaller than the head of your screw but larger than the threads, you'll be just fine. So once you know your window works, if you want to, you can cover up the edges a little bit with some paint just to hide whatever LED strips or anything you might have in there that you don't want to see. I covered up all the holes and the rivets in this lip here with just some electrical tape, but paint would do the job even better. And there you go. That's the easiest and cheapest way to make a full side window for your computer without actually cutting into your side panel at all. I'm Dietec. I like to mod computers and build things, and if you want to see more projects like this, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.